So my name is Cherie Rineker. I'm going to be 48 years old next month. I live in Lake Jackson, Texas with my husband and my daughter. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I work at a little health food store, and but mostly I consider myself a spiritual, I don't want to say teacher, a spiritual student. So I was diagnosed 3 years ago with multiple myeloma, which is a bone cancer. So I was extremely anemic, and multiple myeloma also causes lesions in the bones, which are holes. And when your bones are being eaten up, that's very painful. I have Swiss cheese for bones, I always say, from my skull to my pelvis, my ribs, my spine. I have 4 fractures on my spine, broken ribs, and after 6 months of being misdiagnosed, they finally found out that it was multiple myeloma. It's an incurable cancer. They are coming up with more and more medicine to extend life, but for somebody like me who was, I was found out in stage 3, which is the latest stage, and it was very advanced, and it's been aggressive because it doesn't really the chemo and the stem cell transplants and the radiation I've gone through and stuff hasn't really resulted in a complete remission. So for 3 years I've had to be nonstop on chemo and other things. So it's a difficult cancer. It's a very painful cancer to have. In the summer of 2015, my cancer actually started to creep up again, and I had been looking into cannabis a lot. I saw a lot of testimonials online. When you have cancer, you'll do anything. You get so much advice, and you're researching all the time. And cannabis started to get in the news more and more, and it was just something that I intuitively really felt like that might be something, because one of the nurses at MD Anderson had basically told me one day, it's either the chemo or the cancer that's going to kill you. And being a mother of a young child, that was not a good enough answer for me. I don't want to be on chemo for the rest of my life. I know slowly my body will deteriorate from that, and I didn't want to die from the cancer. So I did a lot of research about it and decided to go to Colorado. Actually was in the local newspaper in Lake Jackson. They did a piece of me over 3 days because I was going to have to leave my family because the cannabis is illegal in the state of Texas, even medicinal. And so it was a pretty big story that I was going to have to leave my family, my comforts. My daughter was going to have to do without me, but you know, I rather went looking for an answer to see if I could bring my cancer remission that way. So came to Colorado and started doing the cannabis. Actually, I started doing some CBD first from Bluebell Botanical. Started doing that, and within a week my white blood cells went into the normal, which they hadn't been normal for ever since the stem cell transplant a year and a half prior. And then the following week my platelets that hadn't been able to reach 100 went up to 112, I think, for the first time also since my stem cell transplant. I am on about 5 medicines right now for the side effects of my cancer, my chemo. Neuropathy is a side effect from the chemo. That went away using the CBD and the THC. The pain that I always had in my bones and in my ribs, that's been gone the whole time I've been in Colorado. I've been nauseous for 3 years. I've had a horrible appetite, and I started getting an appetite to the point where I was actually looking forward to food. My sleeping improved, and just the overall sense of well-being. I've always, in the last 3 years, been struggling with anxiety and depression. So those things have all been working. I went back home to visit my family a couple times, couldn't take the THC with me, and within days I would have to get back on the gabapentin for my neuropathy and oxycodone for my pain. So it really has shown to me that when I'm on it, I feel better. Cancer puts life in a completely different perspective. All of a sudden your little problems seem so, and a lot of people will tell me, like, I can't complain, or when I have a toothache, then I think about you, Cherie. And I always want to tell them, no, don't take away your own, your problems are valid to you. I don't expect the whole world to go like, well, we have no right to complain because look at Cherie, she's got cancer, look how she's dealing with it, you know. But the choice is, do you want to make things a problem, or do you want to see if you can maybe turn it into a lesson or something that is not as serious? And that's what I've learned to do. That's what cancer taught me, that, you know, most problems in life really aren't big problems, you know. It all comes down when you also think you're so close to dying. One thing that I realized, you know, we all want to look good, we all want nice things and stuff, but when you're close to dying, you realize the only thing that matters is how many people do you love and how many people love you. That is it. You don't think about how nice my house looks, or, you know, how cool my car is and stuff. None of that matters. And that was that's a lesson that would be good for a lot of people to know, that truly doesn't matter when it comes down to it. You can't take any of it with you anyway, so. But you can take love with you. I really believe that. I believe when we die, whatever our energy is at that time is what we bring with us. So I think if you have lived a very angry life, you take that anger in energy with you. If you've lived a very joyful life, you bring joy with you. Loving, you know, hate, you take the hate with you. So I think it's really important for us to think what's going on with our energy, you know, what we'll take with us. So that's my belief system. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it works for me.
So you've just listed all these different things that you're battling, and yet to look at you, you look beautiful and you're cheerful, you smile. So how do you attribute where you are to?
Well, when you fall really, really deep and you don't have any further to fall, and you realize in that moment that you have to either get up or there's no point in going on, when you reach that low and you manage to bring yourself back up, then life is just an incredible gift. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, I went really, really low. Not only did I get diagnosed, but when I went on to chemotherapy, I lost my period, so I went into menopause instantly. And so that kind of shakes up the body. Also, the steroids have a lot of side effects. It makes people angry. In my case, it made me so depressed that I started having suicidal fantasies. And, you know, I was really, really in bad shape. I could not function. From the moment that I woke up to the moment I went to bed, death, dying, suffering was on my mind. It was absolutely horrible. And when I got through the first stem cell transplant, which I feared so bad, and it turned out not to be as bad as I thought, that's when, and I really saw the numbers, my cancer numbers drop after that. That's when hope became part of my life again. And that's when I saw, you know, somewhat of a future, and gave my life purpose. I've had a lot of purpose in being able to help other people that are in the same situation as me. I work at a little health food store, and a lot of people are diagnosed with cancer. They come in, and so I saw that I became a role model with my healthy looking and my good attitude, to the point that, you know, people said I was the inspiration to them, and that kind of brought me to a place where I felt I want to share my secret, whatever the spiritual work that went ahead of the cancer diagnosis about 15 years. I wanted to share that in a book, and I share that with people when they come to my house, to my store, that you can actually live a really wonderful life, not only with cancer, terminal cancer diagnosis, but also being on chemotherapy. And that attitude is more than half the battle. That when you keep your attitude good, the cancer loses, even if it ends up taking you.